I cried so much at the funeral. Everyone thought it was shock and traumatized. It wasn't. It was the moment I finally understood, the kind of man my husband had become. I sat in the front row while my mother-in-law clutched his will like a trophy. When the lawyer announced that every property, every account, every business share had been left to her, I didn't blink. I only lifted my chin because I saw the small, victorious smirk she tried to hide. All I got was a broken, abandoned house on the edge of town. People whispered that I should fight it. I didn't. I had already chosen a different battlefield. I remember the first time we met. His reckless laugh, the way he held doors open, the promises he made too quickly but so sincerely. I believed him because back then he believed them too. But people change quietly. At first it was the late nights, then the cash withdrawals, then the lies that he delivered with smooth confidence, as if he had practiced them in the mirror. The final crack came the night he returned home smelling of a perfume I never wore. Sweet, aggressive, unfamiliar. He didn't even bother to hide it. That was when I knew something had moved into the space I once held. I didn't confront him. Confrontation gives people a chance to rewrite their story. I preferred evidence and timing. A heart attack, they said. Stress, they claimed. Maybe guilt, I thought. The will, rewritten quietly weeks before, was his final betrayal. But betrayal gives clarity, and clarity is power. I took my single inheritance, the old house. The place his family despised. The place he avoided like a curse. The house smelled of rot and dust. The floors complained under every step. But on the second night, while sorting through debris, I found it. An iron safe behind a false wall panel. The lock was old but intact. Inside were documents. Not money, not gold, something better. His secrets, signed agreements, hidden accounts, a second phone with messages from the woman he had replaced me with, and most importantly, the proof that he had transferred all his assets to his mother temporarily because he was planning to divorce me after the estate. Expansion deal was finalized. Everything he'd left her wasn't hers. It was an incomplete handoff, legally vulnerable, and he thought I was too naive to ever understand it. He never planned on dying, but I planned on surviving. Pain sharpened into precision. Loss settled into purpose. I called a lawyer, one who didn't flinch at complex knots. We studied the papers. The pattern was clear. His mother held everything, but none of the transfers were finalized. Half the assets were still legally marital property, and the hidden accounts proved he'd concealed funds illegal under marital law. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice delivered in silence. We prepared quietly. A petition here, an asset freeze there. A request for investigation filed at dawn, unnoticed by the world. By the time my mother-in-law realized what was happening, half her newfound empire was locked, and the other half was under review. She blamed me, called me ungrateful, called me a thief. I said nothing. Silence unsettles the guilty more than shouting. Her face was red, hands shaking as she waved the will at me. You think you can take what my son left me? I placed the safe documents on the table, one sheet at a time. Her eyes skimmed them, and I watched the exact second the truth detonated behind her gaze. This can't, it can, I said softly. And it already has. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time, not as the obedient daughter-in-law she had trained me to be, but as the woman her son underestimated, the woman who survived the betrayal he crafted. You planned this, she whispered. No, I replied. Your son planned everything. I just followed the map he left me. The shock drained her face. She understood. Every lie he fed me had become leverage. Every secret he hid had become my weapon. He had built his own downfall. I merely opened the door. The businesses, the property, the accounts he hid, the assets she flaunted. The judge called it restitution. I called it closure. And when it was over, I returned to the old house, the place where everything began. I stood in the quiet hall, breathing in the scent of dust and justice. I thought about him, his smile, his betrayal, his secrets. He had replaced me long before he died, but in the end he taught me exactly how to take my place back. And I did with silence, with precision, with every piece of truth he tried to bury. He found out who took his place, me. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.